Seinfeld. I sure have been watching it and sure have kept going at it. First two seasons have not been the best. Not awful seasons, mind you, but also not something I'd ever really recommend someone watch as a whole other than like select episodes. Which I guess is true for most seasons. There's always going to be episodes you don't recommend, but like, I don't know, Twin. You can make a couple more good ones in there. But season 3, first full season, as it is 20 something episodes, which is the standard length of a season, at least back in the 90s. So, is it any good? Am I gonna finally start liking the show? Or is it the point, or am I like literally a third through the show and I'm still thinking, man, this is mid as hell? Let me get a drink and we'll be started with it. I'm ready. You ready? I don't care if you're ready because I'm starting. Go. 1. The note. George gets a message from a man and tries to act as heterosexual as possible. Damn, okay, we're starting off with a good one. This is a 4 out of 5. Okay, so this was made in the 90s. For real, though, George just being like this, acting, it's very funny. In general, this episode's a good way at showing how homosexuality and all that was really handled back in the 90s and mostly not well. As a straight guy, I obviously can't really comment much on it other than saying I thought it was a funny episode. I like the stuff with Jerry just wanting to get his usual massage lady back, but since he casually told us one story about like some bad thing happened to his child, and now she doesn't want to know the guy. That's probably the highlight of the episode, other than the George just trying to act super straight. Episode isn't like crazy amazing or anything, but again, compared to the majority of the first two seasons, I like this episode. I thought it was funny, and it's a good sign for your first full season that you start with a good episode. Hopefully, more are just as good, if not better. 2. The truth. Jerry gets audited thanks to Kramer, and the girl who has his papers got dumped by George. Man, this is one crazy 4 out of 5. This is one I don't have a lot of thoughts on beyond I just liked watching it. Once again, kind of like the know it. So far, season 3, nothing crazy good, but still enjoyable, which is, again, better than I could say for a majority of those first two seasons, where I was mostly just going, man, this is mid. George, the whole situation honestly kind of speaks for itself by the title. And when you watch it, I mean, the girl literally goes to an insane asylum after George was honest with her. The message they tell is literally don't be honest with women because this is what they'll do. Well, on one hand, it's insane and messed up, but on the other hand, it's also really fucking funny. So it's a good episode. It's a good, solid little time. Again, nothing stood out as like crazy good beyond just the general premise, but it was enjoyable. And checking my rankings real quick, I'd say I like the note more. I say that because I have the note ranked above it. But for real, though, I think I like the note more simply because it's more memorable and it had more going on. But this is still a good one. Still a good, solid little episode. 3. The Pen. Jerry and Elaine go visit Jerry's parents in Florida. Okay, this one's a 3 out of 5. This is just a better version of that Pony Remark episode from season 2. Except I still feel kind of uncomfortable. Okay. As an introvert, having to watch an episode where Jerry and even gets his friend Elaine into it, seeing them just have to deal with Jerry's annoying ass parents, who I really I've seen them like roughly 2 or 3 times on the show now, and I must say I do not like Jerry's parents as characters. I have no idea if that's a hot take, but I don't care. I don't like them. They're purposely meant to be kind of annoying, and I don't like when characters are made to be written like that because it's like, why am I even watching you at that point? The whole experience feels like I'm just in the room or just being uncomfortable, and that's not cool at all. I don't want to experience. Why in a what a, the whole point of me watching a TV is to escape how much I don't like of my real world. Why would I then want to watch an episode of a show that kind of just reminds me of how much like the type of social interaction can suck? I could see this one being funnier to other people, but for me, I didn't find it that funny. It was kind of just uncomfortable mid-tier episode. 4. The dog. Jerry's forced to take care of someone's dog, which hurts his social life. 4 out of 5. Okay, so after that one, we're getting back on track. This one, I can't. What the hell was that? This one I feel was less about just it was less about the actual dog itself and more so just about how having a social life can go and how having one inconvenience could just suddenly mess everything up. Kind of like me wiping my nose there. It's unintentional, me proving my point, but still, who this episode. I mean, Jerry just having a dog kind of just caught. Not having a dog, but having to deal with this other dude's dog just because they so happen to sit next to each other in an airplane. You get the point. Seeing George and Elaine kind of having to deal with that and kind of be around that. And also the truth that George and Elaine really aren't that much of friends. Really only just hang out. But they only really hang out because, they're both around Jerry. I feel like that's as someone who had to be around his brother's friends all the time. I very much can relate to this. When my brother's not in the room and I'm still with them, so it's like, what the hell do we do now? It could be like that, absolutely. Overall, it's a good solid little episode. It makes a good funny point on how real world can be. A good episode. 5. The library. Jerry's accused of having an overdue library book. Meanwhile, George remembers his old gym coach. Okay, this is a 4 out of 5, but I really like this episode. This is easily my favorite one so far, probably. Yeah, no, it is my favorite episode so far, honestly. Even better than the Chinese restaurant one from season 2. Well, I really like this episode. It does everything I want out of it has everything I've been wanting out of Seinfeld. It's still realistic enough to feel like real life and all that, but there's still a bit of silliness to it. The whole detective character in general was dumb, but in a good way. How much he really just takes overdue library books so seriously. Man, acting like this is the most important thing in the history of anything ever is funny. It feels like Kramer getting like this librarian, getting able to bang the librarian was nice until it wasn't. And then Jerry just trying to. We've all been in Jerry's situation. We all have wanted to. We've all had this thing where we're like, "Oh man, I'm so sure of what happened. I'm right. Nothing will change my mind." But then you realize that no, you weren't right, and you're like, "Oh man, I was pretty fucking dumb for thinking all that, huh?" And George probably is my favorite plotline in the whole episode with him remembering his old gym coach because this homeless dude kind of looks like him. You know what? You can say whatever you want about George at this point in the show. Well, I'm not sure about later stuff, but just for now. But George kind of has a good reason to be the way he is, huh? Bro was bullied hard by his gym coach. He got sad. Yeah, I almost start to feel bad for the guy. Like, damn, bro. So yeah, I really like this episode. Best of the whole show so far. Very much enjoyed this one. 6. The parking garage. The gang tries finding their car from car garage, it proves to be difficult. Not even going to sugarcoat it. 5 out of 5. Man, oh man, I love this episode. The library was the library was close to a 5, and in general, felt like the show all trying to pick up a bit more. And then, of course, you have like a majority of the season so far, which has also been solid. But then by this episode, when I'm watching it, I was like, "Is this really the max rating worthy? Am I being too generous on it?" But nah, honestly, watching it kind of just made me realize this is Seinfeld. This is exactly what I was missing from those first 2 seasons, and this is what I want out of a Seinfeld episode. Again, it's relatable. If anything, it's just a better version of the Chinese restaurant episode from last season. Partially because Kramer's there, partially because there's just more room to really develop a story. It's really well made how just all of the gang got something going on. From Jerry having to pee, you gotta pee. A leap all knowledge if you know what I'm referencing. Well, maybe not, 'cause it's not that good, but, like, you know what I mean. If you know it, then cool beans. You have George having to meet his parents and just seeing this girl he likes and being like, "Oh, man, I gotta raise her up." Elaine having a pet goldfish and Kramer just buying a TV, but it's super awkward, so it's like, what do you do with it? It all comes together perfectly, the first time I can really say that about an episode. And in general, just gave off masterpiece energy. Very much love this one. A lot of good. Almost every scene had a funny moment, which I think also helped me for a rating. If your episode's just generally funny, then that's gonna help boost your score way up. So yeah, this is the first truly great Seinfeld episode. Benny, what do you guys say about the first truly great Seinfeld episode? What's your take on the whole situation? Dude, I don't know. I wasn't there for the first 2 seasons. Yeah, but like my thoughts on them. Yeah, you think they suck? Well, I don't know if they suck or not. How can you really judge my opinion? Baby kind of hit me with a true point right there, so I think I'm just gonna put him away. Wait, no, come on. It's dark back there, Z-Man. It's dark back there. Okay. Off you go, little bunny. Go to your hopping class or whatever it is you do. I don't see him at all when he's back there. It's fun. 7, the cafe. Jerry gets an attachment to the place called the Dream Cafe. Why did I stutter there? I don't know. Meanwhile, Elaine takes George's IQ test. Overall, this gets a 4 out of 5. Crazy work that I've just been giving most of these episodes a 4, but it's proving that I'm consistently liking these episodes, even if, other than the last one, obviously, they're not ranking as anything amazingly special. Well, okay, unless they're Library Card or Parking Garage, but hey, following up those 2 episodes feels like a difficult task. So me still liking the episode is definitely good for it. It's good for any episode to be enjoyable, but Z-Man, you're stalling. Just talk about the episode. Okay, episode was good. Jerry wanting to help out the small business, like a real American, was nice. Even if you kind of feel bad for him at the end, because he didn't mean to ruin the guy's business. I mean, the business wasn't already selling anyway, so it's like, why are you being so mad at Jerry, bro? You willingly chose to take this dude's advice when he fully admitted he didn't know anything about this business. That's on you, dude. The George plot is also pretty funny. Probably might honestly call it the better of the 2 plot lines in this episode. George being, I'm not sure if I mentioned this enough yet, but I feel like especially by watching this season, I feel like I've come to the realization that George Costanza is the most paranoid dude in the universe. Bro worries about every single thing, and this episode is a very good example of that. He's so worried that his girlfriend will think he's stupid from an IQ test that he makes Elaine take it for him because she got a really good rating. In both times right taking the test, him just trying to lie his way out of explaining everything is insane. Bro literally had to act like he went out of a window to get some coffee. It's insane. Good episode all around though. It's a solid one. This one said one twice. So does the one become a two? Maybe it's just me saying proving I gotta be better at English, even though I literally speak it. 8. The tape. The guys find an erotic message on Jerry's tape, but when George finds out it's Elaine, he gets a crush. Ooh, you got a little crush, George, and it's a 3 out of 5. Mid tier all around. You get a mid tier. You get a mid tier. It's a mid tier episode. Who else do I say honestly? Episode was just kind of there. I don't know. These kind of episodes where the main character gets a crush on another main character for an episode is a little iffy. Like, if it's established from the beginning, that makes sense, but I don't know. George just getting a crush on Elaine. I mean, it's in character. I could see George doing that. Doesn't feel like he's not acting like himself, but, like, it's not funny. I feel like part of the fun for this type of thing could be seeing just what type of girlfriends these guys can pull, or boyfriends in Elaine's case, but having George's crush on Elaine is just kind of It's kind of freaking nuts that Elaine can just say all that erotic stuff though, and she wasn't even trying. It is funny that we never hear what she actually said on the tape, probably because it's network television. But I prefer to think it's because Elaine's stuff was so naughty that I don't know, every guy watching will just get a boner or something. I'm not saying I would, but like it happens. Kramer also gets a video camera, and that's fine. And Jerry tries to find the person who made the message, not knowing it's Elaine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with the episode other than I just didn't think it was that funny. Oh, yeah, and all the guys get a crush on Elaine at the end, which is a little mid tier. 9. The nose job. George gets a girlfriend with a huge nose, so he gets her to get a nose job. What a good guy this George Costanza is, huh? It's a mid-tier episode either way. I have nothing much to say on this one. George is just a bit of a douche this episode. And I kind of have been liking George's more douchier traits. I think George, I said it a little bit in season 2, but I can confirm here that George is probably my favorite of the main 4. It's George, then Kramer, then Jerry, and Elaine's at the bottom. Because, women always got to be at the bottom, apparently. That's how life works, I guess. So yeah, George is my favorite one, but honestly, I didn't really like him in this specific episode. Seeing something about him just hating on this woman's nose when it's just her having a nose, bro, like deal with it, wasn't really that funny. It was kind of just mean. I kind of just felt bad for yes, Audrey was her name. Audrey was the lady. Just felt bad for her, honestly. She did not deserve to get just harassed for this nose. Only really funny part of it was just Kramer just stating that she does in fact have a big nose, which thanks Kramer didn't even catch that one. It almost reminds me a little bit of the Penn episode where it's like it's awkward, but not in a way that makes it like funny. It almost kind of reminds me of Office in a little bit, where it's like it's awkward, but to me it's not like funny awkward, so it's just kind of like cringy a little bit, and it's like while I'm watching it. 10. The Stranded. George drags Jerry, who drags Elaine, into a party far away from home. Oh my. It's a 4 out of 5. I like this one. This one, even more than the usual Seinfeld episode, feels weirdly mundane. It's just Jerry and Elaine being trapped in some awkward, upsetting that they clearly don't want to be in. So just me in most settings. It's good. It's solid. I liked it well enough. Seeing Kramer get along with the guy more than Jerry was decently funny, I thought. Shows how just casual of a guy Kramer can be. Guy just pulls up to your place and you're like, oh yeah, I can vibe with this guy. He passes the vibe check. And then George trying to do it with some lady that he works in the same company with is definitely interesting. And Yeah, honestly, stuff like that, whether you're in like a college dorm or just in an office workplace, any place where you have to see this girl regularly, whether or not you're dating, I don't think you want to try dating. Because yeah, if it doesn't work out, it's like the most awkward thing in the history of ever, and like you don't want that. I mean, okay, I guess Jerry and Elaine made it work, but Jerry and Elaine are special, okay? Either way, good episode. Seeing Jerry and Elaine just stuck at the party was funny. It was solid. 11, the alternate side. Okay, Jerry has car troubles. George parks cars for people. Elaine dates an old guy, and Kramer becomes part of a movie. Bundle all this stuff into one nice package. What is it? You get a 4 out of 5. Have to admit, so many plot lines is a little much, but I do think it was funny in the end. I honestly do think it was for the best that none of these became a full episode. They work as smaller stories, which is why I'm glad that they decided just to make it smaller stories. Plus, the plots do interconnect a little bit, which does make it more. Feels like they deserve to be in the same episode. Out of the storylines, I think Kramer's might be my favorite. I love how Kramer just suddenly just gets into this Woody Allen movie. Don't know who the guy is, by the way. I'm just saying that because I know they name drop him. So yeah, Kramer just goes and helps this guy out with all this stuff, and it's like, becoming just from a casual hello to just, hey man, these pretzels are making me thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty. As someone who writes dialogue almost on a daily basis for a couple months now, having to hear each of the gang's like interpretation on this is funny to me. This one line, these pretzels are making me thirsty. The other lines are good too, though. By the way, I did like Jerry's point out how dumb just general dealing with a car can be. I do really love the moment where Jerry talks about how they clearly doesn't know what the hell a reservation is because Jerry knows reservation would mean that he has the car, but he doesn't get a car, so you don't know where reservation is. Just overall, it's a very good episode. I really like this one. Again, so many plots come off as bad, but I think if done right, it could be funny. And in this case, yeah, it was funny. Okay, so it's a 22 episode season, covered 11 episodes already, midway through, midway drink. So you don't need me telling you that this season is obviously better than the first two, right? But how much better can it get? That's for the second half to find out. 12, the red dot. George buys Elaine cashmere on Christmas, but it has a red dot on it. 4 out of 5. You know my thoughts on Christmas episodes. It's a whole spiel, won't get into it. I'll just say that this episode is one of the funnier. Well, not fun. I'll say this episode is one of the like. This episode is fine because it barely even focuses on the Christmas aspect. It's really more of an excuse for why George would even buy Elaine something in the first place because George is that kind of douche. Honestly, though, maybe it's just me showing how bad I am at fashion, but like, what the hell's the problem? It's one red dot. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the fact I'm a man, not a woman, but I never saw anything wrong with it. Sure, George giving it to the cleaning lady after Elaine gave it back to him was definitely a dick move on George's part. Like, dude, come on, you're really that stingy? But like, twin, it's a red dot. It's not gonna shoot your dog. You'll be fine. And then you have the whole plot of George working at Elaine's company, which and then boning the cleaning lady because he's just really into women cleaning. Such a weird kink, but you know what? I can kind of respect it, George. It is a there's weirder kinks out there, so I guess I could be okay with it. Overall, good solid episode. I don't know if you're at Christmas time and want something to remind you how bad some presents can be, then watch this episode, bro. I don't know, twin. A robber comes in at the end too. It's fun. And by robber, I mean Elaine's drunk partner. Guy, you could tell I was trying so hard to remember that guy. Anyways, episode 13, the subway. The gang are in different subways and each have their own pitfalls. 3 out of 5. Mid-tier episode. Okay, so just each of the main four going to different subways and being like, oh man, what funny situations can happen from there. Of the four, I'd say George's was my favorite, mostly because it's the one that I'm just remembering the most. Him, man, all I'm gonna say is I felt so bad for George at the end, which again, I feel like I may not need to. I'm not sure how much of a douche people find George to be from these first 3 seasons, because again, I haven't seen anything after this. It's my first time watching the show, chat. But again, I can't help but feel bad for the guy sometimes, and this episode's one of them. Bro, just can't even describe it because I don't want to spoil it. But let's say if you know, then yeah, it's sad. I also liked Jerry's storyline a little bit, him just being shown with the naked guy, but again, it's kind of a slow episode. It kind of just a there. One of those episodes that you're like, yeah, it's fine, but I don't really have much of a desire to ever return to it. Because other than the Jerry plot, which is kind of nice, the rest of them just, again, it's just kind of there. Not much else to add, honestly. 14, the Pez dispenser. George wants power in his relationship. Meanwhile, Jerry helps with an intervention. Yeah, this is a solid 4 out of 5, and I take back everything I said on George being a nice guy, or at least feeling bad for the dude. George is a douche. Bro, pretty much just he wants power in his relationship, and pretty much towards the end, he just uses this poor girl so he can feel like a man. You haven't been a man until you get power in your relationship, apparently. Who needs equals? You can just treat your woman like dirt. Woman, more like make me a sandwich. Am I right, chat? That's right, wife beaters. Let's go. For real though, George is yeah, no, fuck George. The other plotline though with the intervention stuff is solid as well. I love how everyone just starts to get into the intervention. Feels like more of a party than an intervention, but okay. A good solid little episode. The woman's a little insane, but like George is George, so yeah, I get that. Good episode. Crazy work though that George has now been with a girl that like went to rehab after he was honest with her, and now this. George is finding all these crazy chicks apparently. Sorry, I feel like I was gonna sneeze there. You get that awkward moment because now it's captured on camera. That's how it feels when you try to sneeze. 15, the suicide. A jerk named Martin gets into a coma, and his girl Gina is attracted to Jerry. Meanwhile, George thinks there's something paranormal about him. This one's a 3 out of 5. There is easily worst of the entire season so far. There is nothing that great about this episode. I almost gave it a 2, honestly. Gina is so annoying. I get that her boyfriend was a jerk and so she'd want to be separated from him, but come on. She's so rude to Jerry. At this point, I just want to tell Jerry, dude, she's not worth it. Get out of there. And then you got George's whole plotline of just of thinking there's just by one dream, just thinking that there's something going on with him, and it's like I didn't really care about that either. Total nothing burger of an episode. Another one that feels kind of weirdly slow. The one thing I will say, and this is more of a point towards the season in general than even a positive about the episode, which is really showing how there's not a lot here that I liked. But there was the scene where when George was with the fortune teller, he referenced Audrey, the nose job girl. And that reminds me, this season has had a slight continuity across the entire thing. Not anything like crazy major to the point where I even need to bring it up until now, but they do subtly reference past episodes, and I mean that in a good, and I think that's a good thing to do actually. I do enjoy when even comedies can have like some serialization in there, or at least something that reminds you that yes, that there were in fact past episodes. Not every episode's in its own weird little dimension. These are well, they're trying to portray real people with real lives. So yeah, you're gonna bring back some old shit. It makes sense. Saying that though, that's more of a pro to this season in general rather than this episode. So yeah, not bad enough to be bad to get a 1 or a 2, but yeah, not an episode I'd really recommend watching anytime soon or ever. 16, the fix up. Jerry and Elaine trying to fix. In the Google Doc, I wrote Jerry and Elaine trying just to get some sleep at that point when Jerry and Elaine try to fix up George with Elaine's friend Cynthia. You know what, Bimmy? You take the ranks on this episode. It's been a hot minute since we've seen you. What's your thoughts on the episode? Well, my thoughts? Yeah, I want your thoughts. Well, to be quite honest, I don't know what you humans are talking about with this whole like pregnancy thing. Us bunnies can create tons of children, and we don't have a problem with it. Okay, then where's your girlfriend, Bimmy? Oh no, wait, girlfriend's too nice. You mean I should say wife? How's your wife and children then, Bimmy? Uh-oh, I need to go back to my hopping school. Yeah, you go back to your hopping school, Bimmy. I did all that because I have nothing else to say about the episode. I like it. 4 out of 5. Solid enough episode that I have like almost nothing to say on. Lower end of a 4, but still a good episode. Casual, solid enough experience. 17, the boyfriend. Okay, this one's gonna take a bit of explaining. In part 1, Jerry tries to befriend famous baseball player Keith Hernandez. I hope I said that right. White? Oh my god, I'm a little kid. I hope I said that right. Meanwhile, George tries to get an extension. In part 2, Jerry's potential friendship with Keith is questions. I need to take a fucking drink. I am acting so stupid. Oh my god. In part 2, Jerry's potential friendship with Keith is questioned. Meanwhile, George does whatever it takes not to sign. Okay, so backstory time. When I watched this show on Netflix, because my family has a Netflix subscription, so like, why not just use it there? It's convenient, and I'm pretty sure it's the only way I can watch Seinfeld. And for some reason, this two-parter is put together as one episode, and unfortunately, it's edited to where I cannot tell the difference between part 1 and part 2. Me writing it in the episode story description was me kind of just having to use general vagueness. So yeah, unfortunately, I know technically it's 23 episode season, but blame Netflix, not me. They should be glad though. It's a 5 out of 5 because of it though. I think this is a great episode, even if it is feels like more of a little mini movie. Well, no, not really. It still feels like an episode, but just a really long one. But it's a great long episode. I've made much like Christmas episodes, I made my thoughts on guest star episodes clear as well, and that I also don't really enjoy them that much. Again, when you have episodes of your show that are just, oh man, remember this famous dude, or remember this famous chick, it's like, I tune out, bro, because I don't care about that kind of thing usually. But this episode turned this real life baseball player into just a casual dude who just wants to befriend Jerry and bone Elaine. It's surprisingly funny. It's a good episode showing what happens when you just meet real people. If anything, this feels like a better version of that male on bonding episode from season 1. Except this time it's Jerry that like really wants to be friends with this baseball player, and Well, pretty much acts like the dude's like his boyfriend, trying to be around him more and all that. Elena's tell Jerry it's a guy so many times to the point where it almost feels a little homophobic at that point. The George plotline solid as well. I forgot to mention this. I should have in during I talked about the fix up, but George, after the events of a certain season 2 episode, he's pretty much unemployed for like the entirety of the season. So this episode kind of feels like them fully acknowledging it beyond just like a joke or something. Like how in the fix up, George, Darlene has to tell her, yeah, George like poisoned his boss. That's why he's fired. Well, he was already fired, but like him poisoning him didn't help him not like get rehired or some shit. So yeah, George doesn't want to sign, doesn't want to do any of that. Who tries to act like he's totally gonna join this new company, and then takes this girl's daughter outside where she's going to make him sign, and then he tries to get Keith to see her because again he doesn't want to sign. Overall, well, maybe not watched in the way it really needs to for my review style. If Netflix counts it as one episode, then I'll just say it's a 5 out of 5, a 40-minute thing. Maybe if I ever find a way to watch it as 2 individual parts, maybe I'll do like a little Zman extra on it or something, where I talk about what they would be like if it was just 2 different parts. But as one thing, yeah, it's a top tier episode. 18, the limo. Jerry and George lie their way into someone else's limo and slowly learn who the man is. This is another 5 out of 5. More top tierness up in season 3. Jerry and George just lying their way, pretending they're this O'Brien guy. I have no idea how much of this I can say without something bad happening to me, but let's just say this O'Brien guy is not the coolest dude. Far from the coolest dude. He's a Nazi. There, I said it. For real though, seeing when they realize it is so, it left me shocked, and I'm confident it left you shocked as well. Because yeah, I mean, come on. Not every day you realize you're being a Nazi. Just even before that, though, I love how wholesome it is that Jerry and George just get to be in a limo and they're so happy about it. Makes me feel so bad for them when it's revealed that, oh, yeah, this is who this O'Brien guy is. And then Elaine and Kramer getting into it is also very funny. This is a very that's all well, I got. That's all I gotta say about this one. Really, it's just a very funny episode, and at the end of the day, in a show like Seinfeld, that's what really matters. I really gotta start bringing tissues with me at this point. Freaking allergies, dude. 19, the Good Samaritan. George, yeah, George is totally doing shit this episode. Jerry dates a girl who hit a car. Meanwhile, George takes part in adultery. Yeah. Good episode. Jerry's plotline's funny enough. Him not reporting the accident because hot woman hot. Sorry about that. And George's whole plotline of just like, he says God bless you, and leads into the wife wanting to have sex with him. It's insane. Not much to add about this one, so I'm going to keep it vague because I'm getting a little tired. Sorry about that, folks. I'm only human after all. All I gotta know is it's a good episode. And come on, dude, hot woman hot and adultery is okay if you're not the one who's married. Haha, that's a joke. Please don't. You know what? Actually, I only have like 63 subs. Who's watching my channel and being like, oh yeah, Z-Man, give that dope advice. Damn me up, brother. Hey, if I'm gonna be an underrated channel, at least I'm self-aware about it. 20, the letter. Jerry dates an artist. Meanwhile, Elaine's white lie causes all kinds of trouble. 4 out of 5. Man, I feel like this Mr. Repetitive over here. 4 out of 5. A 4 out of 5. A 4 out of 5. But that is what the rating is. Jerry dating this artist is funny. The reveal that her apology was just a freaking quote from a book was funny to me. And in general, the episode is kind of an excuse to just make fun of art, which, I mean, considering what my art is, then yeah, no, I definitely cannot be one to talk here. Elaine's plot unironically feels a bit more like the actual A story, which makes it feel weird that I wrote it like a B story, but yeah, Elaine having to make more and more up of a lie is a common trope, but it's done funny here, so who cares? Also, I literally went to a baseball game yesterday with my brother and his friend because he invited both of us, and yeah, it's crazy the next day because I watched these fun couple episodes today that just an episode about a baseball game, and it's like, okay, man, stars aligned, I guess. 21, the parking space. George argues with the guy about whose parking space it is. Okay, so in a couple Seinfeld videos I've been watching, I feel like this episode's kind of iconic because it's been brought up a couple times. So I'm sorry to be that guy, but this one's a 3 out of 5. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. First of all, it's called parking space, not to be confused with parking garage from earlier in the same season. And that one's just so much better than this one. It's not even funny. What the hell is this one about? It's just George complaining with this dude. As someone who doesn't really know cars that well, I can't really say who really got the right to like park. And honestly, I don't care because this episode is just people being like, it's people just explaining it. Like, oh man, I think this person was really right, but no, this person. It's I felt like the things to try to add to it, like how something you usually see in a Seinfeld episode, at least from this season, if they try to add like a little other things going on, kind of like how in that alternative side episode, there were 4 different stories that episode, and they all felt kind of smaller. Seinfeld can do that sometimes to add a bit more meat to its bone with episodes. And this one, what do we have with this one? Mike, who's the guy George is complaining with, thinks that Jerry's a phony. Something happened to Jerry's car. Like, these aren't that interesting of storylines. Oh yeah, they we get Sid back. He was the guy from the alternative side episode. Once again, bringing that up. And he got references when George tried to drive all them. That's kind of neat. But it's a mid tier episode either way. Sorry, Chad. I really just don't give a fuck. To me, it's just mid. And 22, the finale, the key is when Jerry gets his spare keys from Kramer, Kramer changes and decides to go to LA. 4 out of 5. Kramer is such a wild dude that I can totally buy him just getting something like this happen to him and just having him change his whole time. That's the highlight of the episode, really. Seeing Kramer just act different. Season 3 feels like Kramer's been getting more to do, Matt, in this season. In the first 2 seasons, Kramer's kind of just like, yeah, he's a bit of a weird dude, but like that's kind of it. But in season 3, he's more active, more member of the storylines. I really like to see that because he's my second favorite other than George. And this episode is just funny seeing him change, just become a different person. Referencing the Woody Allen storyline from the alternate side. I swear they keep referencing that one episode. And now Kramer's out to LA. And by the end of the episode, he doesn't go back, which is season 4 going to start by and like focus on that more, or is it going to just revert back to normal? I'm not sure. Again, due to this season having certain continuity stick, I have no idea, which is honestly kind of cool. I like that I don't know what's going to come next for season 4. The whole key debate too is funny as well. Everyone having to give each other keys, and you get the key and you get that key, and it's like, what are we talking about? Like, come on. You're talking about Seinfeld. That lame joke aside, yeah, we ended on a good episode. Not anything crazy good or anything, but solid. And that's season 3. Okay, we have a handful of 3 out of 5s, and they were the suicide, the parking space. I'm sorry, I really didn't care for that one. The pen, the nose job, the subway, and the tape. And for 4 out of 5s, we got The Key. The Key is Zman. And sorry, I know I said I thought it was solid, but what can I say? I like the 4 out of 5s more. Speaking of which, they are The Fix Up, The Letter, The Stranded, The Red Dot, The Truth, The Dog, The Good Samaritan, The Cafe, The Pez Dispenser, The Alternate Side. And for the two 4 out of 5s made into the top 5, we got The Note in the Library. Top 3 time, the 5 out of 5s. The Limo, The Boyfriend, and The Parking Garage is still probably my favorite. Boyfriend was 40 minutes, but Parking Garage felt just more consistently peak, so thought it deserved the edge over it. And Limo was still peak, but like I guess not as peak. Twin. I already said this during the midsection, but yeah, season 3 really is the best one so far. It feels like most of the problems I had with the first 2 seasons have just been gone at this point. Again, most of the 3 out of 5s I feel just don't click with me personally, but I feel like it could totally be someone else's real cup of tea. Kind of because some episodes I liked could not be someone else's cup of tea. It's all really your opinion on it. Overall, though, I did enjoy season 3 of Seinfeld. It's obviously, given the fact that I give a majority of these 4, then you can tell I mostly liked the season. A handful of mid episodes is worth it as long as I consistently enjoy a season, and this season's a good example of that. Overall, I'm happy to finally start liking the show more, finding it funny. I guess those first 2 seasons really were a bit of a slump, but now that we're getting a full 20 episode plus experience, then yeah, this is starting to get peak. And we're only 1/3 through the show, so I got 6 more seasons of this baby. Yeah. I'm a weird guy, huh?